It's ACC Baseball against the A-Sun on ACC Network Extra. We welcome you inside the booth here alongside the former Yellow Jacket, Dusty Isaacs. I'm Daniel Gilman. Thanks for jumping in with us. And Dusty taking 2 out of 3 against Virginia Tech. Enough to move Georgia Tech up to the 4 spot, but still trying to shake the cobwebs of a tough Sunday loss against a very talented but pesky team in West Georgia.
Yeah, they played really well on Friday and Saturday. I think they had their eyes on a sweep going into Sunday. That game got away from them a little bit, but a really good opportunity to turn the page for them. You mentioned a really pesky and good West Georgia team that played them really tight last year. They're going to be looking to do more of the same this time around.
The Wolves took 2 out of 4 against Wichita State, had Auburn down to their final out, and we look at their player to watch in the A-Sun Player of the Week, Patrick McCullough.
Yeah, for West Georgia, the offense that's still looking to get going and find their groove, but this is going to be their big bat in the middle of the lineup, a guy they can count on. Coming off a big weekend where he went 8 for 16, you see 7 runs, 7 RBI, all capped with 3 extra base hits, earning him the A-Sun Player of the Week. Off to a really good start this season.
And the bats should be a focus for both teams as the nation's leading offense continue to mash. 5 home runs hit on Saturday for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, we've talked about it all through the preseason and early on this year. A ton of accolades and a ton of hype for this Georgia Tech offense, and they've done nothing but deliver on that. Hitting .404 as a team, averaging 14.4 runs a game. Early on in the year, there was some question about the power numbers. That's come to life too, as they've hit 33 homers as a team.
Back to back to back in the 7th inning on Saturday, and nobody is hotter than Ryan Zuckerman. He can dance as well, but for the Wolves offense up against this freshman phenom in Dimitri Angelakos, what can we look for?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of strikes. The thing that jumps off the page to me, Daniel, is you take a look at those numbers sparkling early on this year. Through 9+ innings, no walks, right? You see it there, no hit stuff. He did not allow a hit in the last midweek. And he's a guy that's taken control of this midweek role, and he's solidifying that, right? He's taking the reins, and it's his job to lose.
And coming out of nowhere, a sun shower filing in as the fans are trying to stay warm and at the same time avoid a little bit of sprinkling. I do think it's a bit of a small cell rolling through as Gabe Worth leads things off, the senior second baseman from Woodstock. We're going to see a ton of in-state products as the first pitch, a strike, and the second lined out to Baker in right. We'll introduce you to this West Georgia offense, team that scored 25 runs in their last 3 games against Wichita State. And you mentioned it, first time through for Angelakos against Georgia State. He was no-hit stuff, and so we'll see how this Wolves offense, led by both Anthony Cole and Blake Bradford at the top of the lineup. Lewis, a home run threat in that 6th spot as well, as our camera's a bit of a rain shower, as we mentioned, has Lewis sky one deep and carrying to left center field. Oh my, Burress! What a catch for out number 2.
Wow. Yeah, Daniel, off the bat, I thought that was going to be a pop-out. It kept carrying through that little brief rain shower they had there, just kept going. Look how far, from our vantage point, Drew Burress had to go make that play. Probably 40 yards on the run, times it perfectly, and is able to pick it off the top of the wall.
Oh my goodness, what a sight for the All-American center fielder, who is certainly not having an explosive offensive season as expected, but still hitting up over 380 as... Doesn't look like it's raining from our vantage point. I'm trying to portray the camera's deceiving look at a hard drizzle as David Bell takes outside after his first inning home run on Sunday against Wichita State. Expected to pass through with this small cell, but we want to talk about one of the headlining stories of this ball game, and that is the versatility of Georgia Tech superstar Vahn Lackey, who starts the game at third base, and we will keep tabs as a teaser to see if he works his way around the defense with Rogers behind home plate. And you talk about versatility, you've got the freshman of the year, Alex Hernandez, in left. Zuckerman playing first base, showing that range to some scouts watching at home. Yeah, absolutely. And all these guys, I think that's part of it, right? They want to show they can play different positions, any spot. That offensive flexibility is so crucial for them. 3 fly balls forced by Angelakos. Burress misreads it. It carries to the warning track for out number 3 as the captain in center picks up 2 putouts, but one was more impressive than the other as we get one more look at this web gem from the junior. to take us to the bottom of the first inning. Anthony Cole will be reliving that in his nightmares tonight. And this Tuesday night starts off with a flourish. We'll be right back. Gold helmets, a look at Drew Burress, the first-team All-American who has reached in 10 straight, and that's the rules of baseball, isn't it, Dusty? You make a great play, you come to the plate.
That's how it works. There's no exception to the rule either.
Alex Hernandez leads the ACC in hitting, second in the nation in on-base percentage. And how about Ryan Zuckerman, still in that sixth spot? In the last 6 games, he has 12 hits and 6 long balls.
Yeah, he's about as hot as anyone going right now, and I think a big part of that is keeping him in that 6th spot, right? Maybe hide him down there a little bit. I don't know how much longer you're going to be able to hide him for, but gives him an opportunity to get some fastballs later in this order.
And a look at the sophomore from Long Beach as Maverick Torres makes his 3rd start of the season. It'll be a Johnny Holstaff kind of approach for Coach Jeff Smith, who mentioned to us in West Georgia's 2nd season in Division I, they're just trying to play the game 1 inning at a time instead of looking at the opponent.
Yeah, that may be the best way to go about facing this offense, right? Not let these guys, the Georgia Tech offense, see the same arm 2 or 3 times through the order. And Maverick Torres is going to try and keep them off balance. You take a look at his numbers right there. Not off to the start that he's had previously, but a guy that they still trust. He's going to be a strike thrower. If they're going to beat him, it's going to be because he's in the zone, and Georgia Tech puts some good swing on the ball. But as you mentioned, not looking for him to go 3, 4, 5 innings, try and be as efficient as possible and make some quick work of the Yellow Jackets.
Yep, Dusty, high 80s from Torres, who went 2 innings, shutout ball against a very talented Auburn team, but was hit hard on Friday. He got the start at Wichita, allowed 8 runs in 2 innings, which accounts to that high ERA, as we'll see a 4-pitch mix, fastball, change, slider, and the curve that Coach Smith mentioned was the strikeout pitch for Torres. As we see Burress's line, still a OPS above 1,000. We're going to set the tone here in the bottom of the first inning for this explosive Tech offense. And you can see from other camera angles, not quite a downpour, but from our center field camera, the rain is certainly prevalent as a steady drizzle continues here in the bottom of the first. Yellow Jackets outscoring their opponents by 147 runs this season. But midweeks are always a bit of a mixed bag, and college baseball fans know that well. Seems to be 1 or 2 top 10 upsets a week now.
Yeah, you still got to show up and play the game, right? I think a lot goes into it, especially if you're West Georgia. This is an opportunity for a statement win.
Hitters count for Burress. He's 2 for 5 with an RBI on Sunday against Vahn Lackey, and he'll chase a breaking ball up at his eyes. Bowman, the shortstop, is the best fielder on the defense for the Wolves and makes out number 1 look easy.
And if you're Torres, that's exactly what you want. Fill up the zone. Understand that some of the contact you surrender may be hard. Exit velocities may be a little bit higher, but you got to trust the 7 guys behind you to make the plays. If he can pitch like that ahead early, it's going to make his life a lot easier.
Brings up Alex Hernandez, who had 5 hits in 10 at-bats against the Hokies. Georgia Tech, 2 wins, 1 loss in the ACC ahead of a pivotal road weekend at Clemson. It'll be the Tigers' opening weekend of conference play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. First 2 games on ACC Network as Torres misses with the first pitch. And you have to imagine these pitchers did not expect rain, and you wonder, as a starter, what kind of adjustment you have to make.
Yeah, obviously you prefer not to have it. I think what you got to do is make sure that throwing hand is dry. There's all kinds of different concoctions that you can go with. Some guys like to have rosin, some guys don't. Biggest thing for me was in between innings, I wanted to try and keep that as dry as possible. But it can affect the breaking ball, especially as you look to get some tight spin on it. You just got to make sure that you have the proper grip and really finish that pitch.
Well, in the midst of a beautiful rainbow out in left center field, the fans are still scurrying to avoid the rain. 1-1, off speed, outside the zone, with Hank Smith making his 5th start of the season. He's missed the last few weeks with an injury. There's a look at a pot of gold out there
somewhere.
At the right field foul pole territory. Just got to go deep into Midtown. Good looking pitch, takes low as Justin Whitten is our home plate umpire with Craig Barron, Caleb Devier, and Reese Basner around the bases as Hernandez sits on a 3-1 pitch here from Torres. Big cut on a fastball high. It'll tail out of play as Schmidt, the first baseman, gave it a look.
And going back to Torres, Daniel, when we talked to head coach Jeff Smith today, seemed like he had a lot of belief in him, right? He mentioned maybe the stuff's not going to be top of the line, but it's any pitch, any count. He has belief in all 4 of his pitches, and so far you've seen him mix really good, really nice shape on that curveball, especially against these righties.
Payoff pitch to Hernandez. That was a challenge fastball fouled back.
And even if he doesn't have 93, 94, 95, the feeling I got after talking with Coach Smith was he's going to kind of pitch like he does. You know, he's going to go right at these hitters. You've seen it, full count right there. Here's 89, but with conviction, I'm going to challenge you to hit it. And again, I think that's how you have to pitch this lineup. You cannot surrender free passes.
Middle infield has their feet on the grass. Respect for this ACC Freshman of the Year, Hernandez, as he smacks the fastball to deep right field. Bale at the warning track. Oh my goodness! A line drive that carries. And Hernandez has his 4th home run of the season. It's 1-0 Georgia Tech.
And that's when Alex Hernandez was going really good right there. The thing about that at bat was Torres showed him that fastball middle of the plate 3 times in a row. Eventually a hitter like Hernandez is going to get it timed up. He's so good going to right center, especially against that elevated fastball. So much strength in the swing.
Cannot wait to see the exit velo and launch angle there. Let's take another look.
Again, full count, so here's a fastball right at you. Again, going to challenge these hitters. Really nice swing. I think Hernandez thought he definitely got it at first, and you see him kick it into gear as it scrapes over the wall, but they all count the same.
Well, we saw in the top of the first inning, Dusty, traditional fly balls were carrying to the warning track. So the ball's jumping out of the park here today as Jarren Advincula takes just out of the zone. Cal transfer snapped his on-base streak of over 20 games dating back to last season. The cell has seemingly passed, but enough damage was done. These seats a little wet here at McNeese.
Yeah, I was a little surprised the ball traveling the way it was with that quick flash of rain. As you mentioned, the top half of the inning, those balls are really backspinning, carrying really far.
2-0 is a letter high strike. Dimitri Angelakos will be the Georgia Tech pitcher, smiling in the dugout with a little bit of help from his offense. He'll come back out on a dry mound in the second inning. And a 1-2-3 first, aided by a terrific wall climbing catch by Burress as Advincula takes the hit by pitch. And Georgia Tech is in business here. This is what they do. They drag out innings. We saw it so much in the first month of the season.
Yeah, and that's part of their approach, and that's what makes them so good. They have the approach, and they work these at-bats deep like they're a scrappy team with a lack of talent. And then on the other side, mixed with that approach, you have 4 or 5 superstars kind of scattered throughout the lineup that, as a pitcher, you feel like, man, they've been wearing me down. The minute you make a mistake, like you saw against Alex Hernandez, they run into it with the big swing. That's what makes them so dangerous.
Enter Vahn Lackey, who had a deep bomb for a home run Saturday and Sunday. Now has 6 home runs on the season as the catcher extraordinaire, can play third, first, potentially every position. And scouts have been salivating over Lackey's start to this 2026 season. Torres will check over to first base. Advincula with 4 steals this year.
Yeah, to your point, Daniel, I was having a discussion with the strength and conditioning coach at Georgia Tech, Steve Tambora, and I was like, where does Vahn Lackey rank as far as your athletes go you've had over the last 30 years, right? Big sample size. And he said I can count him on one hand. Wow. He's that type of athlete, and you know, he's had some really good ones, like I said, over 30 years. That's pretty high praise. You know, you don't think of that as a catcher, right? Oftentimes you think they're going to be limited back there. Not the case with Vahn Lackey.
So we'll see what kind of comparisons Lackey can bring to Buster Posey as the night develops. Just another hint towards what we may see today, and a good front door breaking ball. First one we've seen from Torres. Yeah,
and you saw Vahn Lackey kind of a little bit of frustration there. That top of the zone is the one that you want to get your good swing off on, right? You hate to let that one pass to get you in a 1-2 hole. And this is where Torres needs to be careful when he's way ahead, 1-2. Right now is the time to expand a little bit.
Defense looking for a ground ball. Torres wants to keep Advincula close. 1 out home run by Hernandez. starts the scoring here for Georgia Tech. Their 34th home run of the season, second in the ACC. Again, Torres wants to help out his defense, make that forced out at second as smooth as possible to keep that secondary lead tight.
And Advincula is a guy who will run 4 for 4 on the year. Quick, fast, so you want to keep him close to keep that double play in order.
Ken Schmidt on deck. 1-2 change stays high. The reinsertion of Schmidt in this lineup has just deepened it. Moved Baker into that 7 spot, and Schmidt has reached base in every game this season. 2-2 fills the count here to Lackey. He walked 6 times in the 3 games against Virginia Tech.
And this at bat is to your point you made earlier, right? It gets 1-2, way ahead, has some pitches to work with. Vahn Lackey has some really good takes. Now you're back in a full count. Maybe a situation where Advincula tries to go here, some action.
There goes the runner. Breaking ball misses outside, so Lackey works the walk. Already his 18th base on balls this season. And we are going to see Ken Schmidt on with many on base this season, it feels like.
Yeah, where he's at in the lineup and the guys ahead of him, always going to be an opportunity to produce runs. And, you know, coming off the weekend when Georgia Tech had a really good offense performance, this is the same recipe. You had the big swing, and then you have a couple grinder at-bats, a hit by pitch. The free passes now is where West Georgia can get themselves in trouble, especially as this lineup lengthens, you know, 6 through 9.
Schmidt missed 8 games in late February. Returned for the Virginia Tech series, had 5 hits in 10 at-bats, as Torres is just missing on some of these pitches.
Yeah, and that one right there, it looked pretty good. I'm wondering if Hank Smith, trying to keep his eyes on the runner, kind of came out of his stance a little bit, maybe took that one out of the strike zone, but that's where Torres needs to live with his fastball especially.
Defense looking for that ground ball, as a 1-0 breaking ball catches the zone. West Georgia with 1 win entering last weekend, nearly won the series against Wichita State, but allowed 11 unanswered runs to lose in game 3 after a 7-0 lead. As Schmidt turns on a pitch down at his knees, Bell misread it. It'll stay in the ballpark as a fly out to right pushes Advincula to third here with 2 outs.
And Daniel, given the way the ball's been flying today off the bat, that one had me fooled a little bit too. I was thinking that could be 3 runs of trouble right there for West Georgia. Schmidt just gets under it a little bit. It went a mile high in the air, and I think that gave Bell a little bit of time to get back and underneath it. And that's the thing about solo home runs, right? You never want to give up a homer, but if you do, you hope no one's on base. Torres is a pitch away from getting through this first frame with only that 1 run.
Brings up the hottest hitter on the planet in Ryan Zuckerman. Although his former squad could argue there may be one player a little bit hotter in college baseball is Lorenzo Carrier. 14 hits in his last 4 games. It's unbelievable what the Panthers slugger has been able to produce. Lackey's going to take off to second, and without a throw, Vaughn steals his team-leading 7th bag of the season.
Yeah, and Torres, you know, in an effort to execute his pitches, is going with a bigger leg kick. I think Lackey saw that after the first pitch and said, you know, this is going to be an easy bag for me. West Georgia not wanting to throw through, and then it maybe gets to the outfield and gives up a free run with 2 outs. But now you have 2 guys in scoring position if you're Zuckerman.
Torres 1 strike away. Just misses outside with the heater, and it's 1-2 here to Zuckerman, who has reached in 20 straight dating back to last season.
You mentioned Lorenzo Carrier's weekend. You have to imagine what that group chat's like, you know, if Zuckerman's still in there.
2 hottest bats in the ACC. Another one standing at second base in Lackey. As the outside corner is caught off speed and off balance is Zuckerman. Torres with a pivotal strikeout to strand a pair. But the damage was done by Alex Hernandez, who has propelled his batting average back up over 500 with an opposite field bomb, giving GT a 1-0 lead into the second. West Georgia in their second season as a Division I team. What a year last season. Jeff Smith won 20 games with the Wolves, nearly toppled number 2 Tennessee, lost by 2, and we're leading against Georgia Tech in the 6th inning. As we talk to Coach Smith, he is excited for this showcase, and only a 1-hour drive as a bunt to start the second for Blake Bradford. Good job by Angelakos. He almost lost his footing there, Dusty.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say. Really athletic play, given the wet surface as he ranged to the right. That's why you got to be so careful. When you approach that ball, you want to take small, choppy, controlled steps. I think he did that, but given the wet surface, he stumbled a little bit, made the throw a little tougher.
Meanwhile, if you saw who caught that ball, Vahn Lackey has transitioned from third base to first base, switching with Ryan Zuckerman. It brings up that Player of the Week in the conference, Patrick McCullough, and you could argue that these two teams have saved their best hitters in that 5-6 spot. As we look at Lackey, what he will attempt to do today is play all 8 defensive positions. We'll see how successful that is with his shortstop and center field opportunity.
yeah, I think I'd imagine it's going to be a little bit scoring game dependent, but I think that is the plan. They're going to try and show off that versatility. We've joked throughout the year. We'll see it. I bet he can play any position.
Good inside out swing by McCullough, and it's a 1-out single to right.
And that's what we talked about McCullough in the open, and I think that's what he's been doing all year. Fastball out over the plate, short to it, simple swing, allows him to be on time more than not. And head coach Jeff Smith said, he's kind of our horse, right? As he goes, we're going to go. So if you're West Georgia, you're happy to see him continue swinging it well.
1-out single, and I mentioned this Wolves offense. They are explosive. Scored 30 runs in the 4-game series against Wichita State last weekend. Held a 7-6 lead here in the 6th inning last season on a February 26th midweek before Georgia Tech came storming back, scored 2 in the bottom of the 6th to take the lead, and then a 6-run 7th. Sound familiar? Because we saw it on Saturday as Andon Lewis skies the delivery here with 1 out to center, and Burress in a much more desirable position there than he had in the first makes the easy catch.
And so far the approach is pretty clear with West Georgia. If they get a pitch they like early in the count, they're going to be swinging. Angelakos is through an inning and 2/3 with only 12 pitches, and it's been a mix, right? If they see a breaking ball up in the zone early, they're going to take a good hack at it. We've seen them put some really good swings on a couple fastballs, most recently by McCullough. So that's a double-edged sword, right? Angelakos, you need to recognize that there's some outs to be had early. You can go a little bit deeper into the start maybe, but also know that they may be ambushing that fastball. You don't want to be too middle right out of the gate.
Dusty, not to mention the benefit of the shadows for one more inning for Angelakos, and that is a prime example. The changeup makes Hank Smith look silly in his return to the lineup, and a look at the sun-aided advantage for the pitcher. Defensive shift as well. Coach Richmond helps employ one of the assistant pitching coaches as Angelakos sneaks by an 82-mile-an-hour pitch on the outer half, and it's 0-2 here with 2 outs in the second.
So far, he's living up to the exact scouting report, right? A lot of strikes. We talked about it. Hasn't walked a guy yet this year through 9+ innings. We're seeing more of the same tonight.
0-2 from Angelakos. He tried to pick the outside corner. Dimitri went 5 strong innings in his first career start last week. The avenged win against Georgia State up in Lawrenceville. 5 strikeouts, scoreless ball with just 2 hits allowed for the freshman out of Woodstock. So we'll check over to Vahn Lackey. It must be strange to have a pickoff to one first baseman in the first inning, another one in the second. He'll have another one in the third. I imagine we'll see Vaughn and Hernandez maybe switching as well with Alex out in left field.
Sounds like it's going to be a game of musical chairs.
It's going to keep us on our toes. Runners off, it won't matter as Smith goes down on strikes. And a second inning that is memorable for Angelakos. Shutdown frame takes us to the bottom of the second. Call to the bullpen to start the second as the Walters State Community College transfer Rowan Park comes in here in the bottom of the second inning to take on the 7-8-9 for Georgia Tech. And in a game like this, how difficult is it for hitters to face a new arm every inning?
Yeah, I think that might be the primary strategy by head coach Jeff Smith for West Georgia. And it is difficult, right? Half of the game is transferring that knowledge at bat to the guys in the dugout. And that's why you see the batting averages go up so much with each additional time through the lineup. Doing it this way, you never have that chance, right? Hopefully you're facing 3, 4, 5 guys each time through, can really mitigate the offense from getting in a rhythm or having an idea of what's going to be thrown. So I think for Park, it's going to be get through your inning, pass it off to the next guy, and let's try and keep this game as close as we can for as long as we can.
And Jeff Smith, who is the pitching coach at West Georgia for 9 seasons before taking over in the 2020 campaign. As we take a look at Park's numbers through 6 appearances, he did have a scoreless inning in that Auburn game on February 25th that West Georgia was up in the 9th against the top 10 Tigers. So we'll see how this Johnny Holstaff approach fares against this offense as Will Baker takes outside the zone here to lead off the bottom of the second. We'll see Baker, Drew Rogers, and Carson Curse. I'm sure Will was watching his native Aussies in the World Baseball Classic come up just 1 run short of advancing to the quarterfinals thanks to a tough error in the 8th inning yesterday. Still a great showing from Australia.
And I was wondering a little bit, you've seen some college guys leave and go play. I was wondering if he was going to get the invite or if maybe he did and he, declined to go out there.
Good question.
I was just curious. I don't have the answer to that, but when I saw that they were in, I said, I wonder if Baker's going to get the nod.
Well, Will is certainly heating up to the task. 423 batting average as Park finds the strike zone on 3-0. Baker, who has reached in all but 1 game this season, looking to fine-tune things for Georgia Tech before a trip to Clemson and a Thursday night showdown against the Tigers on ACC Network as Park misses low, and it's a 5-pitch walk to start the bottom of the second. Brings up Drew Rogers.
And I think some of these arms throughout tonight you're going to see with an inflated ERA. I thought it was really interesting when talking with head coach Jeff Smith. And I think he went out of his way to make it an emphasis that I know we're 3-13, but he sounded like he thought they were very close to turning the corner. A lot of the games he wishes they could have ended differently and tied off differently. But I think he thinks they're much better than this record indicates.
First pitch to Rogers, a double play ball and a great pickup by McCullough. Turned nicely by Worth, and it is the 12th double play turned by the Wolves defense this season.
If you're Rowan Park, that's the best way to eliminate that free pass you just gave up. Really nice play by McCullough. Kind of got caught in between. You see here, gets the short hop, stays with it, and then once he makes that throw, it's a tailor-made double play.
Ideally, Dusty, are you charging that and trying to pick it before the hop?
I think, especially with the runner on first, you want to come get it on a bigger hop. If there's no one on, you may take a drop step and allow that bigger hop. Infielders will tell you when you got good hands, it doesn't matter. But and maybe McCullough would tell you the same thing, but he pulled it off either way.
Brings up Carson Curse, who tied with the team-high 5 hits against Virginia Tech last weekend, including 3 in a 14-run outburst on Saturday, as Curse fouls off a changeup low, and it's 0-2. Drew Burress waits on deck as the Shortstop of the Year award, the Brooks Wallace Award, had Curse added to the watch list a couple days ago. Question is, where will you see Vahn Lackey in the top of the 3rd inning?
Well, we're going to narrow it down. We got 6 more that he's got to knock out. So yep. I think it's not going to be 3rd, and I think it's not going to be 1st. Outside of that,
I'm going to guess left field.
Okay.
I think we're going to see a swap with Hernandez. Seems logical. 0-2. This is driven in the gap in right center, and a single to extend the 2nd inning for Curse.
Yeah, and so far, Rowan Park, it's been slider, slider, slider. It looks like he's wanting to pitch off that. We even saw it in a 3-0 count against Will Baker. Good job there by Curse, staying in on it. He gets another one. Hands stay tight to the body on that swing.
Good piece of hitting, and when you can turn the lineup over to Drew Burress, feels like a little extra addition. And that 9 spot for Curse as Drew takes inside after grounding out on a 2-0 pitch in his first at-bat.
You talk about Curse in that 9 spot coming in today, hitting 385. I think we said it on Friday. It really does act like a second leadoff.
Burress turns on this pitch down in the zone. Back to the wall and gone! A web gem in the first inning and a long ball here in the second as Burress extends the lead to 3-0.
And we see Burress go poolside with power so often. And when he sees a breaking ball early like he got right here, even though this one was down in the zone, not a terrible pitch, if he can stay on that backside and see it early, he can backspin it so well poolside. And the way the ball's been carrying tonight, I think we all had a good idea off the bat that this one wasn't coming back.
Drew Burress now sits 10 home runs away from Jason Varitek's program record of 57. And there's no better time to get hot than this upcoming series. Right. Coach Ramsey mentioned that he had circled the Clemson weekend going into the season. The Tigers just demolished LaSalle this past weekend with 4 games, 3 of them run rule wins after a midweek blowout over Michigan State as well. So both teams in great form for a fantastic weekend up in the upstate.
Yeah, and you never want to overlook a midweek game by any means, but it's hard not to with Clemson coming up this weekend. I think James Ramsey, the emphasis just to play a good, clean game today. You want to be hitting your stride and playing your best ball as you get into a big weekend series.
And I think Alex Hernandez had sights on a mammoth shot with that changeup, as we see the former Florida State ACC Player of the Year. And when talking to him before the game and getting word of this Vahn Lackey scenario, he asked, do you know the last guy that did it? And I mentioned Buster Posey, and it was close. Buster Posey did it in 08. He played all 9 positions in one game. Jake McKenzie for Texas in 2018, the last Division I player to pull off this feat, as we won't see Lackey pitch today, but he wants to show some versatility to the scouts watching. And I'm surprised. You don't usually see a coach come out and have a level of connection to his players to try to showcase talent like we're seeing with Lackey today.
And I'm sure there's a conversation that was had, obviously, with him and Vahn. Knowing Vahn a little bit, I think there's no way he's passing on that.
This is smoked up the middle from Hernandez on the payoff pitch, and a 2-out single extends the inning. This all with 2 outs. After Baker walked, Rogers grounded into a double play, and Curse extended the inning for a couple more runs.
Exactly right. And if you're Rowan Park after that double play, I've been there. It's a breath of fresh air. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to breeze through this one, and that's where you get in trouble against this Georgia Tech lineup. You're thinking, I got 2 outs, 9 holes up. I'll get through this, and we'll go back in the dugout. Curse is so good in that spot, just extending innings, finding a way to get it to Burress, and then you saw the big swing from him.
Home run in the first by Hernandez. He's 2 for 2 today as Jarren Advincula takes outside. Advincula had a rare off day on Sunday. He was 0 for 5, stranding 5 on base. And he turns on this pitch, a no-doubter. Bell watches it sky atop the trees. Georgia Tech's offense is in full force. It's 5-0.
Again, we talked about in the open, Daniel. It took them a while to find their stride from a power standpoint offensively. The last 5 games has pretty much been all it's been. What a swing by Advincula. I'm a little surprised to see the poolside power that he's shown this year. That ball right there, breaking ball again, he saw early. And we saw where that ball ended, 3/4 of the way up the trees in right center. Did not miss a stitch.
I know this isn't an official stat, Dusty, but I feel like Georgia Tech may lead the nation in no-doubt home runs, where the outfielders don't move.
Yeah, maybe that's how you quantify it. A lack of steps by outfielders, and it can go under that tally.
It brings up Vahn Lackey. I mean, they're tracking everything nowadays.
Right.
Every step that every player takes is calculated, and Lackey doesn't see a lot of strikes. Park able to sneak one by him, and Vahn goes the other way. This has gap written all over it down the right field line. Vahn is thinking 3 off the bat, and he will cruise into a stand-up triple. Mr. Do-It-All has his first 3-bagger of the season.
And we've talked about maybe seeing him all over the field tonight defensively. That wasn't enough, Daniel, to prove his athleticism. I think they had him played a little bit to a pull shift that opened up that right field corner. I'm not sure it's not a triple any other at bat anyways, but that allows him to have it stand up. And this is such a testament to his progression as an offensive player. 2 years ago, you weren't seeing him even swing at that ball, let alone driving it to the opposite field. He's now going foul pole to foul pole with authority, and that's why he's just skyrocketing up all these draft rankings.
Brings up Ken Schmidt in the midst of a 4-run, 2-out rally in the second. Bases were empty when Carson Kearse extended the inning. Oh, good 1-0 changeup has Schmidt off balance with the defense shifted to pull.
That's a really good pitch right there by Park. Had him way out in front, completely fooled.
36 home runs this season for Georgia Tech. All these conference marks, most runs, most hits, most runs per game, all in the common era of college baseball. And from a home run perspective, Tech now tied with NC State atop the ACC.
Happened quick.
Yeah, right? Trailed by 3 going into this Tuesday start.
You know, Daniel, that's a good point you bring up. I don't know if they would outwardly admit it, but this offense is very proud of what they can produce, and I think as long as those records and those benchmarks are still within distance, they're not going to slow down or take their foot off the gas pedal. If there's an opportunity to tally on, or I don't want to say pad the stats because they're playing the game the right way, but if there's an opportunity to build on all of that, even when they're up 7, 8, 9, 10 runs, if there's game left to be played, they're going to keep on it.
And a chance to keep on adding. Runner at third, 2 outs, and a payoff pitch here to Schmidt. Changeup taken by the junior. And the 9th hitter of the inning will be Ryan Zuckerman. And he didn't have to think long about that backward K to Strands a few last inning.
Right. Right, no doubt.
Zuckerman 1 hit away from extending his hitting streak to 11. Ties his career high. And Rowan Park just trying to get that 3rd out. There's that changeup, pitching behind for most of this second inning, but gets ahead of Zuckerman 0-1. Ryan Zuckerman, one of 5 starters, hitting up over 420 in this lineup. Just a ridiculous sentence.
Yeah, it really is when you objectively think about it and look at it. I think a lot of that is the competitiveness between the 9 guys in the lineup. No one wants to be the one bringing in the rear or making 2 outs in 1 inning. I think there's this competitive battle going around between all of them.
Soft served over to second, and we will continue that thought when we come back. Worth makes a nice grab, and a 4-run, 2-out rally extends the lead on a crooked number inning. Burress with a 2-out blast set the stage. And a single by Hernandez queued it up for Advincula and his 4th home run of the season, taking us into the 3rd. Coaching shuffle, and Danny Hall, the legendary coach, top 10 all-time in wins, as well as 4 other legends in the game. And look at the changes with Pollard and Virginia off to a scorching start. Brian O'Connor and, of course, James Ramsey here in Atlanta as the bottom of the second inning netted some runs for Ramsey and his staff as we look at this 1 of 1,000 best starts stats for Georgia Tech if you've been following the Jackets. As Blaine Schmidt takes inside, and it's 1-1.
And I think you had, if you're a Georgia Tech fan, you had confidence that this transition was going to go well, but you never know. You know, there's such a legacy that's been left behind by Danny Hall. You thought it would work, but so far so good. It's been really seamless. Coaching change nowadays, how often do you see the roster be just decimated by transfers, right? I think that's a testament to what the guys think of James Ramsey and the want to be a part of this program as he takes it over.
Ramsey, 7 years as the assistant coach, 5 as the associate head coach of those 7 here at Georgia Tech. And, you know, it was quite a story, the way that Danny Hall told it on Saturday. James Ramsey, who had kind of bounced around different organizations, really wanted to come back to his roots, dealt with some family tragedy, and so really wanted to be a little bit more local after growing up in the area. And it worked out in a very late off-season hiring to make Ramsey the assistant coach 8 years ago. And it has gone swimmingly as a swinging bunt by Schmidt will test the third baseman, Zuckerman. Not only did he whiff on the ball, he almost lost his footing as well. So a leadoff infield single by Schmidt here in the third. And Vahn Lackey is now in left field with Hernandez, the first baseman. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think that was the only play he had there. And you can see on that replay, I don't know if it was the English on the ball or maybe the surface being a little bit wet. I think it took off to the right a little bit outside of his frame, made it a little bit tougher. I'm not sure if he makes the barehanded play. He still's got to make a tough throw. So tough play all around.
Meanwhile, we have Lackey out in left, or his third position in 3 innings, and umpires are discussing.
If you notice, Daniel, they threw over there to first base at the end of the play. I'm wondering if Schmidt maybe took a left-hand turn, because after Zuckerman bobbled it, he did toss it over to first base and they tagged him. I'm wondering, the rule is if you take a left turn, you have to get back to the base. You can run through the back and tail off right. I'm wondering if that's the discussion or the point of contention.
That's a good point. First base umpire Craig Barron has finished his conversation. It does not seem like we will have a review. Ready for action here with 1 out, no outs in the third inning, and the 9-hitter Jacob Bowman, transfer from Hillsborough. In fact, all 9 of these starters for West Georgia started at a different program. They either transferred in last season or this season. WGU started their Division I run in 2025, and they will be eligible for the regionals in 2028. One of the less popular rules in college sports, I would say.
Yeah, that's frustrating. And he's like, we're eligible to win the conference, right? But that doesn't give them that.
Right. Whoever loses the conference in that case would be in, which is crazy.
So they have something to play for, obviously. I think that's as he gets his program up and running, I think that's going to be the case. Transfers in the next couple of years.
Rogers back picks it to first. I think Hernandez lost it. Could have been a tight play there, but Alex did well to at least avoid getting hit. He said, is that a two-seam?
Yeah, no, I think that's what he mentioned. I think he's got a cut on me. You saw it handcuff him a little bit and get him on the heel. Rogers is thinking, hey, man, if you snag that and get a tag down, we got a chance.
Yeah, it would have been his 6th caught stealing of the season for Rogers, or pickoff per se. But another swinging bunt, but this one's foul, and it's 1-2 here to Bowman.
Yeah, for Angelakos, quick point here, that some uncomfortable swings. We've seen 2 or 3 swinging bunts, some check swings. Again, a guy whose stuff doesn't necessarily jump off the page at you. Fastball's around 90-91, really good command of the slider. It might be one of those things where guys just don't see it that well often. There's some sort of deception about his delivery.
Yeah, 2 innings in the book today. 2 hits, scoreless ball from Angelakos. Had 5 scoreless 2-hit innings against Georgia State up at Gwinnett Field last Tuesday. A 4-1 win for Georgia Tech. Front door breaking ball. Meanwhile, West Georgia will travel to Georgia State on Tuesday, a week from now. But first, the Wolves will start their ASUN season against Jacks. Dolphins, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 1-2. Might have come in and plunked Bowman, but he swung and fouled it off. Gabe Worth waits on deck as West Georgia was picked to finish 5th out of 6 in the ASUN Graphite Division. ASUN is officially split into 2 divisions. Don't ask me what the other division is called.
I'll take your word for it. Graphite was news to me.
Graphite's cool. I want to say it's like platinum or something unique like that. Two-strike delivery and another foul ball. It's the gold division, gold and graphite.
Okay.
Stetson picked to win the graphite division, but I'll tell you what, West Georgia is a team, just based off their last 2 weeks, that could certainly compete with anybody. Right. Strike 3, snap throw to first is not in time, but Angelakos has his 2nd strikeout today as the lineup turns over.
And Angelakos doing more of the same, Daniel, filling up the strike zone. Really tough at bat right there by Bowman. Just continue to fight, eventually runs out of gas. And that's a testament to Angelakos. Probably not the exact execution he wanted here. Maybe it was good hard fastball up and in. I thought it was a slider in real time, but it looks like it was a quality fastball. So he knows what he's doing, and he's been pitching that way all game last 2 weeks.
Brings up Gabe Worth, and he's hit on the foot to put 2 on with 1 out for Anthony Cole. Now, if you're Georgia Tech, you had a lead on Sunday, 6-3 midway through. You certainly don't feel comfortable up 5. You imagine your offense is going to keep scoring, but what's the mindset of a starting pitcher in this spot?
Yeah, with this cushion, right, it's not about being perfect. It's all right if you let them scratch for 1 or 2. The priority here is how deep can I go while mitigating the runs, right? To your point, I don't think anyone thinks Georgia Tech's going to end this game with 5 runs. So, I mean, if you can go and offer a little bit of depth and try and get into the 5th and you've given up 2 or 3 runs, I think that's all that James Ramsey and pitching coach Matt Taylor are really asking for. Give yourself a chance to solidify and set the game a little bit to where your offense can tack on runs to the lead.
Time called by Rogers, and we'll see Matt Taylor come out as well. And I was going to mention, you got to be careful here with Anthony Cole because he has sneaky power.
Yeah.
First at bat was a deep fly ball to left center field. Caught up against the wall by Drew Burress. As Cole, a transfer from Pasco Hernando State. And Taylor, who also had a unique journey to get here. A couple years spent as the Braves minor league pitching coordinator, assistant pitching coordinator up in the big league as well. It's a great time to be a baseball fan, no doubt about it, as Anthony Cole has a chance with 1 swing to get the Wolves back in this one. The 1-0 pitch is a good changeup on the outer half, evens the count.
And Daniel, to your point, I mean, Drew Burress made a heck of a play in left center, no doubt about it. But Anthony Cole kind of flicked his wrist and ran it out to about 390 feet. You know, so the power's there. You do want to be careful with him here.
Another changeup, rolled over to third. Zuckerman, Advincula, over to Hernandez, around the horn to end the inning. The 8th twin killing of the season for the Jackets. Keeps things scoreless for the Wolves offense. As a starting pitcher, they call this your best friend. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd next. In the 1st inning, but a beautiful evening for baseball now on a Tuesday night as West Georgia will continue this 1 pitcher per inning rate with Josh Lanham, transfer from Eastern Florida State. We'll see if Lanham can keep West Georgia in the ballgame here.
Yeah, and we talked to head coach Jeff Smith. This is the guy that he mentioned you'd probably see. We weren't sure when it would be, but he did say that he was going to be available and likely today. Never seen him pitch before, but I can tell you from watching him just for a few pitches warming up here, absolute whip of an arm, right? So he's going to have really good hand speed. You have to wonder maybe he has a decent changeup to pair with that, given how fast his arm speed is. But similar to what we talked about, it looks like everybody's going to get inning pops here. Your job is to get in and out as quick as possible and keep them where they are. We saw Park last inning to get away from him a little bit with the 4 spot. If Lanham can keep him at 1 or less, that's ideal for West Georgia.
Brings up Will Baker. And we talk about West Georgia starting in D1 just last season. They went 20-31, 11 wins in the ASUN. Hoping to build on that next weekend to start ASUN play as Lanham kicks things off with a sweeping curve. With those 20 wins last season, Dusty, a look of the last 10 years for ASUN newcomers, West Georgia became just the 2nd team in the last 10 years of any D1 program to win 20 games in their opening season. Quite an impressive mark. 11 wins tops this ASUN newcomer list. And the ASUN is also joining this alliance with the WAC conference. This should be really interesting moving forward. They're going to have mid-season tournaments in different sports, first of its kind, to try to usher in some excitement for non-Power 4 teams.
Yes.
Baker smashes this, beats the shifted shortstop Bowman for a leadoff single.
Yeah, it's looking at that graphic, 20 wins is obviously impressive, but I think 11 wins in the ASUN in your first year,
right?
That's a really good sign of think where Jeff Smith thinks he can get this program to over the next 2 years when they finally are eligible. Another look here at Will Baker's swing. It's just so short and quick hands, right? He never gets too big. He knows his game, and the more he plays, he's starting to know his game better. I'm going to stay through the middle of the field, and good things happen.
So Baker has reached in both at-bats, and it brings up Drew Rogers, making his 11th start of the season. Came off the bench Sunday, had 3 at-bats, but was hitless against Virginia Tech. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech moved up from 5 to 4 in the D1 baseball polls. They sit at 3 in the perfect game rankings, taking on number 11 Clemson this weekend, a must-watch ACC showdown.
Good pitch.
Yeah, just misses outside. You wonder if the framing from Smith is costing his pitchers today.
Yeah, it looks like he's been, part of it might be when runners are on base. He wants to be very cognizant of that, has one eye on him, but it seems like he's in and out of the zone with his glove a little bit quick. You know, I've seen it on a few, especially fastballs down. Instead of beating the ball to the spot and working up with a strong hand that presents it like it's bottom of the strike zone, he's kind of working top to bottom, maybe taking it out or making it appear as though it's lower than it is.
Rogers grounded into a double play in the second. Good take there on 1 and 2. Lanham with a 3-pitch mix. Fastball curve change. Rogers with a lazy pop-up into center. Bradford is there, and there's one out here in the 3rd inning.
Now batting number 3, Carson Hurst.
Talk about that double play last inning. 12 DPs through just 17 games for West Georgia. That's a strong number.
Yeah, and it's especially critical when maybe your pitchers are fighting, and scratching a little bit. Maybe you don't feel like you have your best stuff yet. Such a way to bail yourself out. We saw that last inning.
They could use one here with Carson Hurst at the plate. Good strike thrown by Lanham. And on the original call with Coach Smith, he mentioned that Lanham would go second, and that hypothetical universe, things might be a little different here after Rowan Park was hit for 4 runs, 5 hits back in that 2nd inning. Lanham certainly has electric stuff out of that right arm.
Yeah, it's 89, 90 on the radar gun, but as far as, like I said, arm speed, that kind of jumps out to me. Long limbs, kind of looks like a whip coming through.
And then pulls the string, and that's another good pitch that seemed to cross the zone. Didn't get the call, 2-1.
Yeah, and Lanham, of course, wants that call. Smith, if you can get to that spot first and bring it back, right? You almost want to work against the grain a little bit.
There's a better version of it, although if Hurst was sitting on it, could have gone a long way.
And that's actually a really good job by Hank Smith. If you saw that one, he's catching that one as deep to his body as possible. He's letting the ball get deep, so that way it looks like it's lower in the strike zone. That was a really good job of receiving the baseball by Smith right there.
About 3 in a row with that, what I call it, a sweeper.
Yeah, it's big though, right? Big break. As a righty, you got to stay in there, or likewise, if he starts that front door or front hip, as a righty, you got to trust that you're probably going to have 15 inches of break on it. You have to keep that front shoulder in there.
3-2 is a painted strike 3 down at the knees for out number 2.
A really good job by Lanham right there. It seemed like he was committed to throwing that breaking ball. He's thrown 3 or 4 in a row, so Hurst has changed that approach, and then he executes a perfect 2-seamer on the inner half. Hurst, all you can do is tip your cap.
To the top of the lineup, 3rd at-bat in 3 innings for Drew Burress. Sits now 5th all-time Georgia Tech home runs. Had 25 as a freshman, 19 as a sophomore. 3 here early in this junior season, most likely his last here in Atlanta. Letter high ball, 2-0.
Yeah, I know probably, again, he's still hitting north of 380, right? All things considered, but the power numbers maybe off to a slow start. But the reason I don't worry about him is we've seen in the past that power plays against the upper arms in the ACC. I don't expect any drop-off. Some guys, you make all of your, you make your hay and your money in the midweek, and then you get a little bit of a drop-off. when you face the big time arms on the ACC weekends. I don't think that's a concern for Burress.
And Drew walks on 4 pitches, and I think I would probably walk him on 4 pitches after his last at-bat as well. But the dilemma sits, and we have talked about this all weekend. When you walk one of these Yellow Jackets, you then get their friend, and they come out angry and with stingers, and Alex Hernandez is the next Georgia Tech jacket up.
Yeah, at some point it gets to where there's no place to hide. You run out of places to put the previous hitters. Traffic gets condensed on the bases, and now you're facing Hernandez with yet again runners in scoring position, and this is where he crushes.
First inning home run, a 106 exit velo. That might be more. A gapper into right center for the RBI by Hernandez. 1 run scores, and that's Baker to extend the lead to 6.
Yeah, it just seems like he turns into another level when he gets runners in scoring position. I don't know if it's an increased level of focus, if his approach just tightens up, but it always seems like he does his best work when there's a chance to produce runs. More of the same here. Talked about it with that first inning home run. When the ball's elevated, he's really comfortable driving it to right center. More of the same right there.
How about a 527 updated batting average for Hernandez? Making it look easy, number 4 in white, and it brings up Jarren Advincula, who hit a 2-run bomb back in the second inning. 100 miles an hour off the bat from Advincula. That one a little bit more loft. How about this? We'll compare loft here. The home run by Hernandez that was a line drive was 22 degrees.
Okay.
Advincula's was 34.
I knew it was getting closer to 45, right? I'm not great at math,
yeah.
but I was figuring it was climbing that.
I imagine 45 is as high as it can get, unless you have one of those pop-up home runs. Regardless, Jarren with a no-doubter is now 2 away from tying his career high of 6, and a little inside-out swing to the vacated shortstop spot. Another 2-out rally as Burress hustles first to third on the RBI by Advincula.
Yeah, now you're getting a look at the complete hitter that Advincula is, right? First or second at bat goes however far to right center field, 3/4 way up the trees. Then he gets super short the swing, stays inside the ball, and just muscles it to the left side of the field. Just a complete hitter, and you talked about 2 home runs away from tying his career high. I think that's why a guy like him comes to Georgia Tech. Opportunity to learn under James Ramsey, really offensive-friendly ballpark, and now he's starting to get that momentum to have the year that he's hoping to.
I'll check that. Burress scored on that single. Hernandez hustled first to third, and it brings up the left fielder, Vahn Lackey. Started the game at third base, played an inning at first, an inning at left field, and according to the schedule of this game, he's going to have to hurry if they only play 7 innings. As Lackey ropes one fair down the left field line. Had a triple in the second, and Vahn Lackey with an RBI double here in the third.
And very similar to what we were just talking about at Advincula. We saw last at bat, Lackey goes the other side of the field, working with the right field foul pole and a fastball up and away. This time, left field foul pole for a double. So not only is he halfway through playing every defensive position, he's halfway through his cycle pursuit as well, right? So we'll see what happens. He's shaping up to have a big night.
You could argue he's got the 2 toughest ones out of the way. That first inning walk may be costly.
Right.
What a day it would be if Vahn Lackey plays every position in the field and is able to pull off one of the more unique offensive milestones.
Whoever knows the last person to do that is truly impressive.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's been done. Brings up Ken Schmidt, 0 for 1 with a walk today, as you see there, looking for his first home run of the season. A deep fly out in the first as right-hander Lanham misses outside 1-1. Georgia Tech with 6-run rule wins this season, on their way to their 14th 10-plus run outburst of the year. As this pitch sneaks away from the catcher Smith, a little lackadaisical, costs them a run. Good base running by Advincula. Lackey moves up, and back-to-back innings with 2-out rallies. That's the storyline.
I was about to say that exact thing, Daniel. This is really starting to mirror.
We're in chemistry now.
This is really starting to mirror what we saw out of Park last inning. You get 2 pretty quick outs, and you feel like you're ready to cash the inning in, and then you look up, right, and you've gone the walk to Burress. That always seems to be a common thing. And then missile double to Hernandez. Lackey, quick work. You look up before you can catch your breath. It's a 4 spot.
That's a breaking ball up in the zone. Schmidt is regretting the lack of swing, and it's 2-2. 4 runs on 2 outs in the second, 4 runs on 2 outs here in the third. And another what would have been kind of scenario for Jeff Smith and his Wolves. Backdoor pitch into the vacated second base spot, and it is 5 2-out runs here in the third inning for GT, and Schmidt extends his on-base streak to 26 games.
Yeah, and if you're Josh Lanham, you feel like you finally made your pitch, right? You got the ground ball, soft ground ball to the right side, and then of course it finds its way through the shift. Georgia Tech, just good things happen when you put it in play, and they do that, and then you scratch, a couple bloopers, and then you run into the big swing, and that's kind of been how they've been rolling all year.
Dusty, the innings could not be more different. The second inning had 2 home runs and a triple. This third inning has 4 singles and a double. We saw it this weekend. Georgia Tech with 11 singles, 2 doubles on Friday, no home runs, and then the home run derby came on Saturday with 5 long balls, including 4 in the 7th for an 8-run outburst, as Ryan Zuckerman is the only non-attendee to the party so far, 0 for 2 today as he takes a fastball inside. Zuckerman has stranded 2 in the first and 2 in the second. Looking to end that drought here in the third. Sweeper misses high, 2-0. 3-4-5 due up for the Wolves in the fourth. They will at least get 7 innings to hit, regardless of the score. Count 3-0 now to Zuckerman, who has reached in every game this season, 20 in a row dating back to last year.
Be interesting to see if he has a green light here.
Didn't even threaten the strike zone on a 4-pitch walk, and Georgia Tech will hit around for the first time today.
Yeah, I can't help but think about that walk to Burress, right? Obviously, I'm sure Lanham wanted to be careful with him. To your point, his last at bat, he hits it off the scoreboard. But it seems like that's coming back to bite him a little bit. He was making quick work of this inning until that got away from him. Then, like you said, it's a murderer's row of Hernandez, Advincula, Lackey, Schmidt. Just doesn't stop.
Brings out former Wolf pitcher Dominic Murgo III, new pitching coach for UWG. All sites now set on Clemson, South Carolina, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Georgia Tech and Clemson just tangled in basketball and softball last weekend. Clemson snuck by in basketball, took 2 out of 3 in softball, but a great spoiler by the Yellow Jackets on Sunday as they jumped into the top 25 RPI in softball.
It's going to be a fun weekend of baseball. Obviously, won't be there, but it'll be fun to watch and keep up with for sure.
First pitch to Will Baker is a breaking ball low. Can make sure to catch the radio call this upcoming weekend with Colin Lacey or ACC Network Thursday and Friday, and the X on Saturday. Baker pops up the 1-0. This should end the inning as McCullough in foul territory secures it. And a 5-run inning for Georgia Tech has blown this game open, all with 2 outs as they have scored 9 with 2 outs tonight. Inning and a 4th position for the versatile junior who is in right field. He swapped with Will Baker and now can join his teammate from USA this last summer. Lackey and Burress as a member of the USA Collegiate National Team. You know, we saw a pitcher on Saturday, Brett Renfro, a member of that Collegiate National Team as well, as we will certainly be awaiting Burress and Lackey's names to be read in the upcoming MLB draft as David Bell leads things off in the fourth. Dimitri Angelakos worked around a couple base runners last inning with an inning-ending double play. And if you have not seen that catch made by Burress in the first, I highly recommend checking out Georgia Tech's social media pages to watch that phenomenal grab.
That was incredible.
Another game of what-ifs for West Georgia. Had a couple opportunities in the second and the third, and Georgia Tech with 9 two-out runs. I mean, what a number.
Yeah, even to lead off the game, the line drive by Worth was hit really sharp. If that falls and they get a little bit more out of that swing by Anthony Cole, right, you're up 2-0 with no outs. Very close to have a 2-0 lead to start the game. But 2 good defensive plays. And I'm wondering, Daniel, if there has to be one of these 7 spots or 8 spots where Vahn Lackey feels a little bit of anxiety creeping in. I would love to know which one he feels a little bit like, I don't love being out here, but I'll do it.
So,
corner outfield's tough, right?
No, I did chat with him. He had mentioned his corner outfield, he feels good. And talking to Coach Ramsey, Ramsey said that Vahn Lackey at corner infield, corner outfield is an above-average ACC defender. Lackey got a little bit smiley when he mentioned the middle of the field. Second base, shortstop, center field. We may see just one batter, one out from that, as Bell grounds out to start the fourth inning.
But as you know,
the ball finds you.
The other unwritten rule of baseball that is unavoidable is if they're going to go 1 out and 1 out only, you can almost bet your dollar it's going to be a 100-mile-an-hour ground ball. We'll see how good his hands are then, right?
So Lackey reads his outfield card for the left-handed bat of Blake Bradford, who leads the way with a .400 batting average. Bradford, who started the season as a pinch hitter, may not face Dimitri Angelakos as the Georgia Tech bullpen is moving, and James Ramsey's going to come out and take the ball. Give some opportunities to the depth of this Georgia Tech staff as Adam McKelvey, sophomore lefty, will take over here with 1 out in the fourth to face the lefty Bradford. Switching to a right. Dimitri Angelakos, nearly 9 shutout innings in 2 starts, as he removes with 3 1/3 shutout innings and a clean base path for Adam McKelvey, who has 3 1/3, funny enough, under his belt this season, the sophomore from Roswell.
Yeah, and a bullpen that's still looking for left-handed depth, right? They have the 2 that they normally go to. This is a guy, I think it's a priority they get in the game. You mentioned only 3 1/3 innings pitched, but through those 7 outs, of those 10 outs, 7 are punch outs, right?
Wow.
So a guy that they see probably has some swing and miss stuff. Want to see how he throws tonight. We talked about the big weekend coming up. Kind of an opportunity to get him some work to make sure he feels good and fresh and in rhythm before they head to South Carolina.
Meanwhile, here's the chance as Vahn Lackey switches to center field here with Drew Burress out in right, and the fans are starting to catch on.
Yes, they are. You can see hear the buzz and the chatter of they might be onto something. You got to wonder how Drew Burress feels. I think this is his first inning never playing center field for Georgia Tech. So he may be feeling more uncomfortable than Vahn Lackey is in center.
And so the switch hitter Blake Bradford switches to the right side. Had a bunt, ground out back in the second. Fouls back. First pitch from McKelvey. So you wonder if Angelakos maybe used this weekend at Clemson, pulled with just 3 1/3 innings. Gives the opportunity at least. And this is going to test Burress in that corner outfield spot, and he makes it look easy for out number 2, and you wonder if Lackey is showing some frustration that he didn't get a chance.
Either that or relief, right? It's look, you can see Burress smiling, thinking, what are the chances, right? The ball finds you. But
Lackey threw his hands in the air, too, like, what can I do?
Yeah, just to tie off on your previous point, though, that's where my head's going to with Angelakos, right? For a team that's still looking to solidify their bullpen and maybe even the back end, Angelakos has thrown the ball so well over the last 9 innings, as you mentioned. He's now earned his spot to maybe be in the mix with some big outs this weekend, and with a quick turnaround, they're going Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You want to make sure he's ready and available.
That's a good point. Just one off day before maybe your biggest ACC series to start the month, as McCullough looks silly on that first pitch. Patrick McCullough had 8 hits last weekend. Picked up his 9th of the week back in the second inning on an inside-out single. As he'll take low 1-1 here from McKelvey with Andon Lewis on deck. McCullough. Again, off balance there.
And that curveball seems to be a weapon for McKelvey. We talked about he's punched out 7 of the 10 outs he's recorded this year. A little bit of deception. Big lefty, big body lefty, has that deep stab, and then spins the ball really well. Tough matchup.
McCullough, good job to spoil with the sun starting to set here on a Tuesday evening. We get an extra hour of sun now with that daylight savings in effect on Sunday. Beautiful pitch by McKelvey. A clean inning here in the fourth as McCullough down on strikes. Georgia Tech's pitching has been hot in midweek since that loss to Georgia State. We'll tell you more about it as the day develops. McKelvey clean out of the pen, takes us to the bottom of the fourth inning. Tech leads 10-0. After 4 two-out runs in the second, Georgia Tech kept it going with singles in the third, 5 of them.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how, the back and forth. We saw some big swings earlier, and now it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, taking advantage on the base paths and the small ball moving runners ahead.
And so we'll see a new pitcher face this #1 Georgia Tech offense, third in the nation in home runs with 36. And all of those top-ranked numbers as Gavin Mask, transfer from South Georgia State, will come in, make his 6th appearance here in 2026. And again, a lot of these inflated ERAs, Wichita State really got these bullpen good last weekend.
Yeah, and I think we talked about Georgia Tech trying to maybe have some sort of audition outings for these guys as they look to shape up their bullpen. More of the same for West Georgia, who heads into conference play in the ASUN this weekend. They're trying to find guys, even in a 10-0 game right now. I'm sure head coach Jeff Smith, with his pitching background, he wants to see who takes the ball and goes right at these hitters and who can put together a clean frame.
Drew Rogers 0 for 2 today. Takes a strike at the knees from Mask. We'll see Rogers, Curse, and Burress. And Alex Hernandez, who's 3 for 3 with 3 runs. Advincula 2 for 2 with 2 runs. Lackey's got a double, a triple, and a walk. Tell you what, some of these guys may not want to only play 6 innings at the plate.
Right.
On pace for history in more than one way for Vahn Lackey. Beautiful pitch there, 2-2.
And the other side of that coin, Daniel, some of the guys may not want that 4th at bat. You go 2 for 4 and your batting average goes down. It's like
it is insane.
The 2 for 3 you'll stick with.
That's a gorgeous pitch again. Back to back with the front door breaking ball, and Rogers goes down on strikes.
Yeah, Rogers just not seeing that big hook well from Mask, and he stayed with it. We saw kind of a good one, a better one, and then his best one to finish him off. Each one eliciting kind of a flinch. You see right there, just unable to see it earlier, pull the trigger. Frustration for Rogers.
Yeah, Rogers 0 for his last 6 over the last 2 games. And it brings up Carson Curse, who had a single and a run back in the second. Maybe the Jackets just aren't awake until there's 2 outs.
Right. That's the approach. Get 2 outs, and then we'll get on it.
Last 9 runs scored with 2 outs. 4 in the second, 5 in the third. And a lopsided 10-run lead here in the fourth. Second ever matchup at the Division I level with the Wolves of West Georgia, who traveled all of 50 miles from Carrollton. And I talked to Coach Smith before the game. He said, man, what a difference being in the Division I is. Yeah. You play Georgia Southern, you play Georgia State, you play UAB and Auburn, and everything's a 2-hour drive or less. A lot tougher trips in the Division II.
And a lot tougher, competition, and not only the Division I teams, but in this geographical area. You mentioned Auburn, whether it be Georgia Tech,
and
going
Georgia
to Kennesaw State, Georgia
yeah.
State. Like, the in-state midweek teams are really tough. It doesn't allow you to come up for air at all.
Well, that slider sweeper not as successful against Curse. He'll work the 5-pitch walk.
Yeah, just wasn't able to land it as consistently as he was against Rogers. He had a really good feel for it. Threw one good one to Curse early in the count. The next few got away from him a little bit, starting to move more side to side, in and out of the strike zone too quick.
And a fourth at-bat here in inning number 4 for the leadoff spot in Drew Burress, who homered in the second. Walked and scored last inning. Big hole in that 3-4 gap with the middle infield pinch towards second in double play depth. The count 1-0. Burress hit that first home run, 393 feet. 100 miles an hour off the bat. 47 home runs in the white and gold for the junior. Oh, this could have been bad for Curse, but the pickoff hits him. Instead of a second out, there's a runner at second here with 1 out.
Yeah, it looked like he might have had him leaning, to your point. I think maybe a one-way lead going the wrong way. You, as a pitcher, you want to try and put that throw where it's catchable over top the bag. Yeah, caught him in between steps. Just that throw took him a little bit wide to where Schmidt wasn't able to secure the ball in tag. If it's another foot closer to the base, it's bang, bang, and you probably have him.
Hitters count here at 2-0 for Burress. Certainly not a 2-0 pitch. It looked good, but misses 3-0.
Yeah, and we've seen these pitchers for West Georgia just keep small misses. Torres, we saw as the starter, similarly trying to go with that breaking ball against the righties off the outside corner, just missing by a half ball.
Second consecutive walk here in the 4th inning as Burress works his way on base for the 3rd time, and Alex Hernandez, who has already reached with 3 hits, looks to continue climbing that incredible average.
And yet another chance, Daniel, with runners in scoring position. We've talked about it a couple times earlier this game. It seems like he locks in at a different level with an opportunity. You point to it right there with runners in scoring position hitting 500. You know, that's just some of his
unimaginable,
numbers.
Yeah. 545 with runners on base. And this arguably not the worst scenario to pitch around him either. That's where you get into the crazy mode talk. But then you've got Advincula next, who has not been retired. Lackey is 2 for 2 with a walk.
I think if it's a tighter game, especially if first base is open, I think it's no question a pitch around situation.
Hernandez gets under one. This is going to be a tough play for Bell. It hangs enough. He'll make the grab for out number 2. With both runners advancing. A good throw to third. Curse slides off the bag. And a double play for West Georgia to end the inning. Great throw by Bell.
What a play by Bell. He did everything right. Comes in on the ball, stays behind it, and he's anticipating that Curse tagging up from second. Perfect one-hop throw. Curse helps him out a little bit by sliding past the bag.
We'll head to the 5th. No 2-out rally this time, thanks to a little extra perspiration on the bag and a great tag by McCullough. Charlie Wilcox is the 3rd Georgia Tech arm today, as the freshman went 2 strong innings last week in the win over Georgia State.
Yeah, we talked about opportunities, right? And this is more the same with Charlie Wilcox. We saw Adam McKelvey get in, get out, feel good about his outing. Another opportunity here for Charlie Wilcox to do the same. Freshman arm, highly recruited, highly touted. They worked hard to get him on campus. Had a tough couple first outings, but as you mentioned, threw the ball really well last week. I think in a perfect world, you get him in this inning, you get him out, he's fresh for this week, and continue to build that confidence. Fastball has a chance to get into the mid-90s when he's right, and then a really sharp, hard breaker that he's going to work off of that.
A look at the Tech pitching today. Wilcox allowed 3 runs in both of his first 2 outings, both big lopsided wins against Bowling Green and Stony Brook, and an opportunity for a tune-up. Try to earn some more outings here and keep the walkless streak going for these Georgia Tech pitchers who have lowered their ERA down to 3.7, guided by Matt Taylor as we look at the progression through the years. Taylor in his 3rd season as the pitching coach. And that K per 9, top 25 in the nation.
Yeah, so the K per 9 going up and the ERA going down, right? That's kind of it's been a progression as he's taken over this pitching staff, but the numbers are starting to tell the story. The guys are starting to buy into his philosophy, and the numbers are proving that out.
Meanwhile, Vahn Lackey is the captain of the infield. Shortstop is where Lackey is. Will Baker has moved to right. Drew Burress back to center. Caleb Daniel has replaced Curse, hitting 9th. So no more Carson Curse. It's Daniel in left and Lackey at short. We'll see how long he lasts. Right now in the deep 5-6 hole with a shift against Andon Lewis, as Drew Burress in a little bit more of a comfortable spot out there. Advincula playing the left side of the infield. Lewis pops one up. Advincula will give way to Hernandez for out number 1.
Yeah, you got to wonder. I mean, at what point is Lackey starting to borrow his buddy's gloves? There's no way he's got. You can't tell me he's got a catcher's mitt, outfielder's glove, middle infielder's glove, first baseman's mitt. That one looks brand new. Maybe they wouldn't got it right out of the box.
I was gonna say this. I'm waiting for. He has not gotten a ball hit to him yet today.
Yeah, right.
This feels like that Will Ferrell skit from spring training a few years ago, where he bounced around different games all on the same day. Brings up Hank Smith. Check that. Gabe Young pinch hitting here in the 7 spot. Fastball by Wilcox has some get up at 94 for strike 1. West Georgia opens up ASUN play Friday against Jacksonville University. 5 o'clock start. 3 o'clock Saturday, noon on Sunday. As Young fouls it back. Wayne Schmidt waits on deck as 6 straight Wolves have been retired. That is a painted perimeter pitch, and strike 3. First K today for Wilcox.
And now you're starting to see the Charlie Wilcox that I think the Georgia Tech fans who have heard so much about him were wanting to see. You mentioned the first 2 outings were rough. Credit to pitching coach Matt Taylor and James Ramsey sticking with him, knowing that this is going to be an impact arm. Well, if they want to have the season that they're planning to, he's going to be in the mix in some capacity. You got to keep putting him out there, giving him innings, giving him reps. The stuff starts to play itself. And
a great job by our camera crew, our producer, to catch the instructions towards Vahn Lackey, pushing him into that 5-6 hole there. I believe it was Coach Richmond, as well as Ramsey and Taylor all connecting. We've got Arthur Kai directing, Tanner Phipps as our producer, and our fantastic, hard-working camera crew. That does not get enough recognition. I've noticed a little bit of an artistic flair today from Art, the director. Maybe some fade-ins from that rainbow earlier. And there's a look at go around the horn with our camera crew. We've got Emma right here next to us dealing with our antics throughout, Dusty.
Toughest job in the stadium.
She gets to stay dry, though, that first inning rainstorm. Especially with the weekend that we had last weekend, a 2-hour rain delay Friday, a 2-hour rain delay Sunday. These guys don't get paid extra, so.
Yeah, one of those weekends where you spend more time at the park than you do at home.
Certainly appreciate all the work as the season's just getting started. Swinging chopper. Oh, Vaughn had a chance, but Zuckerman takes it away. And a 1-2-3 inning there for Charlie Wilcox. Will Vahn Lackey have some ball hit to him? There's only 2 more innings if this score holds.
Recently, we've kind of built a big rivalry there. Just have had some pretty elite games between them, and packed our crowds out there. Here last year, they packed their crowds out my freshman year there. We've built a big rivalry between them.
They've been really good the last couple of years. I mean, we've been really good the last couple of years. I think that's one that always, it gets a little bit fiery and it gets some high competitive spirits, and I mean, I think you can always mark on your calendar that's going to be a good series.
You know, these two programs have gone at it for years and had, you know, always a lot of respect for each other. And so you want the crowds packed out here, packed out when you go there. And it always is a true test of, you know, more like a super regional environment of those 3 games.
Oh, hard to forget that bat flip from Burress as we look at the numbers between Georgia Tech's offense. That incredible pitching staff. Michael Sharman had a 78-pitch shutout the other day against South Carolina, and Clemson will play host Thursday, Friday, Saturday on ACC Network. Thursday and Friday should be must-watch television coming up. Was it a rivalry when you were here?
Oh, 100%. And for the reasons they all mentioned.
Advincula leads off the bottom of the 5th with a fly out to right.
For all those reasons mentioned that they said, it's the proximity geographically, right? Fans show up both ways. Something's got to give this weekend. You take a look at this. The Georgia Tech offense has been so good, but equally as good has been the Clemson pitching. So it's going to be a really good test for both sides. But yeah, it's such a rivalry, but it's such a fun game set, whether it's here in Atlanta or if it's at Clemson. Both teams, it's one of those you can throw the records out, right? You're getting your best swing from each side, and it's going to be 3 really tough games.
Yeah, Clemson's offense has been ignited with over 50 runs in their last 5 games and a weekend sweep over LaSalle as Vahn Lackey takes out of the zone. Lackey with a triple, a double, and a walk today. He has stolen a base as well. We're talking about a stat-stuffing day for Lackey as Gavin Mask makes him look silly there, and it's 1-1. Trying to think what else he could do. He needs an assist.
Right.
Maybe he'll throw someone out stealing next inning or the following. I imagine he'll move to second base for the 6th, and then he'll catch to round out the day if the score holds. As Mask finds the strike zone. If you're West Georgia, you can keep this within sights and then score 1 run and extend the game.
Right, exactly right. I think that's what Georgia Tech offensively is trying not to lose sight of, right? The 10-0's great. It'd be nice to get to 11-12 to try and make this as efficient as possible.
Lackey continues this day to remember. He's a single from the cycle. He has played every position in the field, and the lead is 11.
You know, I was kind of joking when we said we're on cycle watch, given everything else going on in the game. But now that became a whole lot more realistic and became that way in a hurry. That's an absolute missile. We've talked today about him using the full field. We saw the triple to right field down the line. Now he gets a breaking ball that he just crushes out to left. What a day he's having.
That is the 6th extra base hit for the Yellow Jackets and the 4th home run. Brings up Kent Schmidt, who rolls over the first pitch from Mask. Good cover from the pitcher for out number 2. Well, the question is, will Lackey get another plate appearance? And this is where, you know, you don't want to consider allowing 2 runs.
Right.
Obviously, if it happens, it happens. But Lackey's certainly hoping, maybe this game gets to an 8th.
Oh, he's definitely thinking about it, right? Anyone who says otherwise, you know you've had a day like the one he's had. And you mentioned it. He got the hardest pieces of the cycle out of the way early with that double and the triple. Now after he runs into that one, we may see if he does get a bat, you may see a drag bunt or a push bunt.
Or outside that shift, maybe.
Right.
You know, one of the traditional inside-out swings we've seen from both Lackey and Hernandez for most of their 2026 runs. And the celebration continues today. Ryan Zuckerman swings over the 1-1. You talk about pressure, a little bit of pressure for the bottom of the 6th inning, see if we can get it back to Vaughn.
Right.
Of course, you're going to have to basically hit around unless you have another 2-out rally here in the 5th. Ooh, that had the Wolves defense headed towards the dugout, but no strike 3 call.
Yeah, and outside of that home run, though, Mask has thrown the ball well, right? We've talked about guys getting in there and trying to build their resume to earn more innings. I think if you're Jeff Smith, you've liked what you've seen.
Zuckerman into that 5-6 hole. Another 2-out hit for the Yellow Jackets extends this 5th inning.
And if you're Zuckerman, that feels good. You were the last.
Now batting number 7, Will Baker.
I guess Drew Rogers also looking for his first knock, but everyone else is getting on the party, as you mentioned.
That's an 11-game hitting streak for Zuckerman, tying his career best.
You know, Zuckerman's the guy when he came to Georgia Tech. I think a lot of power, but some swing and miss. The hit tool wasn't necessarily on par with the power. And I think it's a little bit of the James Ramsey effect, changing and developing and polishing that approach to when you do get 2 strikes, shorten up, try and play pepper with the defense. You're seeing Zuckerman really become a pretty complete hitter early on this season.
Brings up Will Baker. With Rogers on deck. Georgia Tech with 9 of their 11 runs scored with 2 outs. All in the 2nd and 3rd innings. Meanwhile, I remember there was a game a couple weeks ago. I think Burress was a single shy of the cycle. And that was in like the 3rd inning. Something crazy like that, right? I'm trying to recall any cycle watches. I think that was against Stony Brook. Yeah, he had a double, triple, and a home run. That's what Lackey is staring down here today.
I'm trying to think of what happened that last at-bat with Burress. I don't know if it might have been a walk. Don't quote me on it.
Yeah, he did have 1 walk in that game. He was 3 for 4 with 9 total bases. Baker fouls off the 1-1. 9-1, 2-2 up for West Georgia in the 6th. I think there are some Georgia Tech fans who wouldn't mind if the Wolves put up a couple runs.
Yeah, there's a silver lining, right, if nothing else. I think the other side is I think there's a Georgia Tech bullpen that would love to keep it going the way they have.
Yep. 1 run allowed in the midweek last week against Georgia State. 1 run allowed in the midweek against Georgia Southern. And I've covered this sport long enough. You don't often see pitching gems in midweeks because you're usually working through some freshmen and try to fine-tune some of your reserve pitchers. And yet this Georgia Tech team seems to have very little flaws.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Oftentimes it is those younger arms that you're trying to get some innings under their belt. And you never know what's going to happen when you get guys in there with lack of experience, even when their stuff can be really good.
1-2 is high to Baker. If you wanted to do the math, if Baker can reach, then Lackey would be 5 at-bats away. If Rogers can reach, then you start getting into some realisticness where Lackey would be due up 4th in the 6th, and you don't have to worry about how many runs West Georgia may need to score. As Will flies out to center, sends us to the 6th. Another Georgia Tech home run and another no-doubter as Vahn Lackey with his team leading 7th long ball. He's got 7 steals as well. What can't he do? We'll head to the 6th. It's a dusk-filled sky here in the 6th inning. Daniel Gilman, Dusty Isaacs, and where is Vahn Lackey? How about we retrace the steps where Lackey started the day at 3rd and has played 1 position per inning. I think shared a little time between right and center with a pitching change, but Dusty, what a day it's been. He has a single from the cycle as well.
No, it's really shaping up to be something that could be a crazy day for him. Obviously, what he's doing defensively puts him in a very small group. And I can't even begin to imagine if there ever has been, or the last person that has played all 8 and hit for the cycle. Now, you're starting to get into really rarefied air.
However, one thing Vahn does not have is an assist. Despite playing every position in the field, there have not been a ball hit to him as Charlie Wilcox leads things off for the 2nd inning in relief work against Jacob Bowman. Lackey, who is widely regarded as the best catcher prospect in this upcoming draft, led all Power 4 catchers in hits last season and is on a torrid pace here in 2026 as pinch hitter Ashton Yelder, freshman, swings over this off speed, and Wilcox, the freshman, looking for a 2nd strong inning as Parker Brocious is now in right field. Will Baker is playing short. So Lackey's not the only one stretching his versatility as Yelder goes down on strikes.
And a good look right there from Charlie Wilcox. Again, just starting to find his groove and get comfortable in his college baseball young career. Really good breaker here, top to bottom. And like I said, when he's going good, the fastball's 93, 95, power arm, looks the part on the mound, exactly what you want. Repeatable delivery, as mentioned. Just hats off to Matt Taylor with sticking with him, right, and just trusting that over time he's going to start to figure it out. He's too good not to.
To the leadoff spot, and Gabe Worth, who fouls back the first pitch. It's hard to fathom the script writers here today, because I got word at batting practice that this feat would be attempted. And you go back, and if Lackey doesn't walk in the first inning, how might this be different?
Right, yeah, great call.
However, though, you throw a walk and a steal in, and you're looking at a extra cycle.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and as it stands right now, he's looking to do all 8 positions, cycle, in what could be 7 innings, right? Another little twist to it.
Even more of an asterisk. Now, a lot of these pitches from Wilcox have continued to frustrate the hitters. Fastball on the outer half, 3 strikeouts now for Charlie. And to bring it back, Buster Posey played all 9 positions at Florida State in 08. He pitched as well in the game. Jake McKenzie at Texas in 18 also pitched. So there is a little bit of a wrinkle. And when Vahn said to Coach Ramsey, what if I, Ramsey didn't even let him finish the sentence. He said, you're not pitching.
How far did that get? I can't imagine very. To be fair, Buster Posey did throw in college.
He was a two-way.
Right,
yeah.
so that gave him a little bit of a head start.
He was their closer in that World Series run.
He was legit. Yeah, mid-90s, really clean delivery.
Brings up Connor Hilton, pinch hitting in the 2 spot. West Georgia unable to bring their bats to Atlanta here today. Georgia Tech's pitching has been locked down. So we will count it out. Rogers will lead off the 6th, then Brocious to the top of the lineup. So 6 spots to get to Lackey. Just need 3 to reach base.
Yeah, there's more pressure on those guys than there is than Vahn Lackey, right? I'm sure everyone in the dugout's going to be kind of tongue-in-cheek. Who's going to be the guy?
Yep. Daniel is hitting 3rd for Advincula, and that would be the one. Yep. Caleb Daniel coming cold off the bench. It may be up to him with 2 outs to get Vahn that final at-bat. Ooh, fastball high in. And of course, there's still the factor that the bottom of the 6th inning may not be the end of the game.
Right.
You'd have to have a pitcher come out in the top of the 7th and shut down the Wolves in order for the game to end. 2 outs, 2 strikes here in the 6th. Looper right back to Wilcox. 2 shutout innings for Charlie Wilcox. 10 straight retired from Georgia Tech pitching. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th. Lackey continues to want a ball hit to him. East Baseball Park at Rush Chandler Stadium. Daniel Gilman, Dusty Isaacs as Georgia Tech is cruising in a midweek against UWG as Grayson Strumpus from Alpharetta to play in front of some friends and family here on the big stage.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as well. It's got to be nice to be close to home and have an opportunity to pitch in front of friends and family. Another guy, very small sample size with an ERA probably higher than he would like. Opportunity to lower that a little bit tonight. A young arm who's just only a 3 1/3 into his college career, so still trying to get his feet wet. Good opportunity for him here with a game where there's not a ton of pressure. Try and get in it and get some momentum built.
And he will face a pinch hitter for Georgia Tech as Coleman Lewis steps into the batter's box. We saw Lewis once in a pinch hitting spot this weekend against Virginia Tech. He'll look for his first hit here in the month of March. For those curious, Georgia Tech's last cycle was in 2019 by Tristan English, the 2-way threat. Burress 2 weeks ago was a single away, which is where Vahn Lackey sits as he is due up 6th in this potentially final half inning for the Jackets with a 10-run rule in effect. talk about layers of intrigue.
Yeah.
You know, we heard the news. We said, oh, if West Georgia keeps it close, Georgia Tech probably won't mess with this, gimmick. But because Georgia Tech scored 4 in the second, 5 in the third, the game got to go on, and we got to see Lackey in the middle infield and center field. He just happened to hit a double and a triple and then a home run.
Yeah, that's all been bonus. We thought that the end of the line might have just been the position flexibility. He's given us a cherry on top with what he's done offensively. We're going to have a quick mound visit here again, just to slow him down a little bit. Young arm, pitching at home, friends and family, probably speeding up on him a little bit, Daniel.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just a reminder of where they're at in the game, where the score is, where it's at. Just attack. What do you feel the most comfortable with? What can you put in the strike zone the most frequent?
Grayson Strumpus. Make for a great cartoon villain. As he'll walk Coleman Lewis on 4 pitches. And the possibilities are there for a big inning, as we will see Caleb Daniel here in that 9 spot. So I had it switched around. Caleb Daniel was due up second in the inning. Brocious will be the one right in front of Lackey. Brocious had a hot bat, too. Fans getting into it here with Daniel's first at-bat of the game. He was 4 for 8 with 2 home runs over the weekend. He had 2 of them on Saturday, both late in the game after he was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. I was curious to see if he's going to be in the lineup. Obviously had a huge freshman year. Still a guy they're definitely going to count on. By no means is this an indication that he's not going to be playing this weekend, but after that big part of the weekend, you might want to just keep him rolling.
Not the outing that Strumpus was hoping for. Serenaded by the fans as he has thrown now, 7 straight balls?
7 straight, yeah. Right here, it starts to creep into your mind a little bit. You can act like you don't hear it. Getting that first one across is the hardest one.
Oh, a 3-0 green light for Daniel. Deep into right center field. The 3rd home run of the week for Caleb Daniel on a 3-0 swing, and it's 13-zip.
More of the same, right? We were just talking about maybe trying to get him in there to stay fresh and stay in that good rhythm. That's exactly what he gets. 3-0 green light, gets a fastball out over the plate. Strumpus just trying to get in there and improve that. He can establish the strike zone. Caleb Daniel makes him pay.
Here's the celebration. I guess you could call that a strike, though.
Yes, right? He's in the zone. Yeah, man, that's just, if you're Strumpus, you're thinking, can't catch a break. I thought I was safe there, 3-0.
Daniel's fired up. That the Georgia Tech dugout is realizing one more needs to reach.
Yeah, they're doing the math.
And Vahn Lackey will have a chance for the first cycle in this decade with a single. There he is in the background.
Yeah, you think he knows? Look, smile's pretty big.
Question is, if he hits a gapper, what's the play? I'm sure they're joking around about it. Regardless, Drew Burress at the plate here against Strumpus, and Burress is plunked. Now barring a double play.
Yeah, just unraveling a little bit for Strumpus. Right, we talked about a young arm. Looks like they're going to go get him.
Yeah, long walk from Jeff Smith to relieve Grayson Strumpus from a forgettable appearance. And we'll take a break as Davis Williams takes over here with no outs in the 6th. Junior arm out of Cartersville as the Jacksonville State transfer. Talk about tall tasks.
Yeah, no, this is, I'm sure, look at the numbers here. This is the best we've seen all game through 6 innings plus, 1.42 ERA. Maybe a guy that head coach Jeff Smith was saving in that back end if this game was closer to keep him in it, had to turn to him tonight. But yeah, you can tell right now, we were just talking, Vahn Lackey is up, barring a double play. This type of arm slot, this type of delivery tells me he's going to be sinking it, he's going to be sliding it, trying to induce a ground ball. We'll see if Hernandez can do enough to keep the ball in the air or at least a line drive to pass it on to the next guy.
So Alex Hernandez, who flew out to right, is 3 for 4 today. And he has one job, as does Parker Brocious on deck, and that is avoid a double play and pass the baton to Vahn Lackey, who is a single from the cycle. They may rename March 10th Vahn Lackey Day. First pitch, a herky-jerky delivery from Williams, misses outside.
Yeah, it's definitely a funky slot. And you could tell when he was warming up, he was signaling and letting the catcher know he's going to be throwing a lot of sinkers. Like I said, he's going to try and get that ball down in the zone and induce a ground ball.
Burress at first base. Shows no signs of moving as this pitch is fouled off the foot and off the third base bag.
Not sure I've seen that.
No, that's called strength
Yeah.
and pain.
Usually when it goes up the foot, it squibs down the line, or rarely does it stay true like that. Take another look here.
Of course, that third base bag has been quite friendly for the aforementioned Vahn Lackey, who had the walk-off single. It was against Stony Brook a few weeks ago. That hit the bag.
Right.
Back when Georgia Tech was playing close games. Yellow Jackets since then have found a way to pull away late, including Sunday against Northwestern, saw it on Saturday against Virginia Tech. This has been a blowout from the get-go with 4 runs in the second, 5 in the third, all with 2 outs. After the first inning home run by Hernandez. As I'll take high on 1-1. Three, 4, 5 due up for the Wolves in the last chance. 7th inning to extend this game. Caleb Daniel added an insurance home run a few moments ago. Hernandez ahead in the count, 3-1. Big swing on 3-1. That Daniel home run was on 3-0.
And that pass at it right there by Hernandez reminded me of the other swings we've seen tonight. Fastball out over the plate. Saw him hit that big homer in the first, similarly, and then working that right center field gap in his third at bat.
"14 hits for Georgia Tech, just 2 for West Georgia. 5 home runs for the second time in the last 3 days for the Yellow Jackets. Ground ball to third, squeaks under the glove of McCullough. Burress will go first to third. And barring a triple play, Vahn Lackey will have a chance for the cycle as Parker Brocious comes to the plate. 4 for 5, you think that'll help the average for Hernandez?
Yeah, that's the guy I was kind of joking about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, going 2 for 4 lowers the average, but going 4 for 5 is continue to climb, which is crazy to think about when you're already hitting 500, 520.
Meanwhile, Brocious is hitting 400 this season with 4 walks, and there is the man of the hour. Lackey have played 7 positions today. He will catch in the top of the 7th, presumably. Brocious may drive in a run here. Flies this one down the right field line. Long run for David Bell. Coming in to score easily is Burress. It's a sac fly for Brocious. And here we are, the stage is set, a 14-0 lead. Vahn Lackey walked and stole a base in the first inning, tripled in the second, RBI double in the third, and a solo shot in the 5th. He has played all but one defensive position. That is his natural position, catcher, saved for the 7th inning. It is a single from one of the rarest feats in baseball. First pitch swinging, it's a grounder to second. A fielder's choice, but a missed opportunity at history.
And he got the pitch to do it on. You know, Daniel got a fastball out over the plate, hit it hard. One of the few times tonight, though, it's right at somebody. Another look at it here. If he can just, I thought off the bat it had a chance, Daniel, going 4-hole the way they were playing double play depth.
You like that first pitch swing? Maybe, avoid any walk chance?
I think that, well, I think the big thing is, I do believe this, I think Vahn Lackey, the type of player he is, I think you try and stay in that approach. When you get too greedy or try and do something that's outside your game, you're kind of messing with the juju that you've had going, right? You want to play the game the right way. It presented itself an opportunity, a good pitch to swing at. I do think there's he's probably looking fastball early, knowing that they've been a little bit up and down, in and out with their command. He got a good pitch to do it on, just happened to hit it right at somebody.
So a pinch hitter here in Cade Brown, hitting for Kent Schmidt. Brown, first pitch swinging into that 5-6 gap for a 2-out single. Now I'm wondering if maybe we get Lackey to try to close out the game with 1 out needed. You know, you
right.
get him out there and pitch.
Take off the gear, go pitch.
Davis Williams was certainly not the pitcher that you wanted to face with his sub-2 ERA. And he's looking to shut down this 6th inning as the first pitch to Ryan Zuckerman. Strike and dropped by the catcher in Smith, and moving to second base there.
I think maybe a little bit of a cross-up here, Daniel. Not often you see that nowadays with the pitch communication device they have, but the way that it kind of clanked off his heel and then the reaction from the catcher made it seem like they weren't on the same page.
And it is a new catcher. I want to correct myself there. David Bell has taken over behind home plate.
But also, if you're an experienced veteran catcher, you do that to make it look like it was a cross-up so no one knows you really got handcuffed.
Yeah.
If you're playing the long game.
Opportunity for Zuckerman here, who is 1 for 3 to continue his torrid pace with 13 RBIs in his last 6 games. Count 0-2.
Yeah, and you saw the numbers from Davis Williams having a really good start to the year. You can see why. It's a really uncomfortable at bat for a right-handed hitter. He's stepping right at you, kind of throwing across his body, lower slot, firm sinker, slider. Not a guy for a Georgia Tech righty that you want to be facing into this game.
Fastball high and in. Bottom of the 6th inning here. Georgia Tech has a couple touchdowns. Looking for their first shutout here in 2026. We'll see if it's Charlie Wilcox, who will look to pick up what would be, by the letters, a save.
Right.
3 innings of work to close a game, regardless of the score, constitutes a save. As Williams is bouncing off the mound, wanting that strike 3 call.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up. If you're the Georgia Tech pitching staff, with everything else that's gone on today, I think there's a lot of focus on that, of trying to finish this the right way and the way you want to.
2-2. Zuckerman goes down on strikes. Clean inning of work from Davis Williams. What a swing this was by Daniel. Welcomed in Strumpus with a bang. Added some insurance into the 7th. Started with a rain shower and a rainbow. Home runs left and right from the Yellow Jackets. Vahn Lackey now in his traditional position behind home plate. If you're just joining us, a little bit of history in a fun way for Georgia Tech today, as Lackey has played all 8 defensive positions. May pick up his first put out or assist.
Yeah.
He has not had the ball hit to him.
The irony of all that is we've been waiting and kind of chuckling about a few different spots he's been in. We mentioned how maybe the middle infield was his least comfortable. We didn't see a ground ball. He'll definitely, being a catcher now, be in on some of the action for sure. But Georgia Tech's going to turn it over to Porter Bursama on the mound to try and put a bow on this thing. And this is a guy, we talked about get-right outings, and I think that's exactly the thought here. Another guy, probably the best pure stuff on the team. Fastball is up to the mid-90s when he's feeling really good and in a rhythm. We've seen in the upper 90s, can really spin a breaking ball upwards of 3,000 RPMs. A guy they are just needing to get comfortable and into a rhythm because his stuff is too good not to use.
The pinch hitter here in the 7th inning is Landon Widener comes in the 3 spot, facing Bursama, who was hit with the loss on Sunday. Meanwhile, Nathaniel Coupe over at first base. Daniel in left, Burress in center, Brocious in right. Zuckerman, Baker, Hernandez, and Coupe around the infield. Opportunity for Alex Hernandez to show some versatility as well. He's played left, first, and second now.
He's right on Vaughn's heels.
Maybe he'll actually get a ball hit to him and get to make fun of Lackey for it. 1-2 pitch from Bursama. Oh, right to Hernandez. Lackey covering, and a good throw retires the first batter as Coupe is now the first baseman, and there's one out in the 7th.
It's funny how that works. 8 spots, hasn't had one put out, moves to second base, first ball's hit to him. And that's, in all seriousness, that's something that Alex Hernandez also offers, right? And that's really attractive as he's a draft-eligible sophomore, a guy who's probably also going to hear his name, maybe not called as soon as Lackey or Burress, but I think is hitting his way into the top 50 to 100 picks. A guy who can play anywhere on the corner outfield. We've seen him at first. We've seen him middle infield and third base throughout his career here.
Brady McDevitt pinch hits here, and you mentioned it. I think as well as having fun with it, what Coach Ramsey wants to do is display a true versatility for his players, both Hernandez and Lackey, of course, and also have some fun. The story is that Ramsey was in the Cape this summer, kind of had an idea watching some of the guys play. I was like, oh, you know, maybe we'll do it. He brought the idea to Vahn, who Lackey, you know, in traditional fashion, of course, wanted to pitch as well. But at the end of the day, Vahn was talked down the ledge, and here we are. Lackey has played 8 defensive positions. Of course, Buster Posey did it as a member of Ramsey's Florida State team back in 2008. And in a game like this, with the game certainly not in doubt, it adds that level of fun. Now, the fans were chanting, let him pitch in the between innings. I don't think it's going to happen. Bursama looking for a little bounce back after Sunday's tough outing. 1 strike away from 2 down is McDevitt at the plate. Launches a frisbee tail high, 2-2.
Yeah, so you've seen both the breaking pitches that really stand out, especially from a metric and a data standpoint with Bursama. A cutter at 91, a true cutter, and then that big hard sweeper at 84, 85.
It's 96-mile-an-hour heater into the dirt, so a walk for McDevitt. Brings up Patrick McCullough, who is somehow just 1 for 2. All these at-bats on one side of my scorecard. Yeah. And then the meat of this West Georgia lineup, their 3rd time through the lineup.
Yeah, and with some of the movement in and out of the lineup, some of the guys only got 1 at-bat, right, as they've gone to some of the reserves. That's a testament to the Georgia Tech pitching tonight.
West Georgia needs 5 runs to extend this ball game. McCullough takes high and outside. Georgia Tech comes back home on March 27th, so a 2.5-week road trip. They'll take on Auburn on the road, then head to Pitt for a weekend set before hosting NC State and Auburn again to end the month. And that big Florida State series, April 9th to 11th. Beautiful pitch has McCullough looking silly, and it's 1-2.
And there's that good slider again, Daniel. That's why it's so tantalizing, why he's going to keep getting run out there. They're going to, similar to what we're talking about with Charlie Wilcox, is they're going to give him a long leash to figure it out. The stuff is too good to deny and not find some way to get outs in some of these games.
Great take there, as Georgia Tech is 2 outs away from their 15th win and 7th run rule of the year. Must-watch series Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Clemson. Thursday on ACC Network. Same pitch, same take, and the count is full. A game that started with a web gem in center field by Drew Burress, would later see 5 home runs scattered through this lineup. As McCullough works his way from 1 and 2 to a walk, and there's 2 on now. Is this where you let Lackey pitch?
Right, that's what the fans will tell you, right? You heard the chants.
So it brings up the right-handed hitting pinch hitter in Carson Manat. Georgia Tech has turned 1 double play today, back in the 3rd inning. Ground ball here may end the game. Next first swing. 0 for 14 this season. Carson is due. He's got 8 strikeouts. Bursima would like to make that 9. One tails outside. Georgia Tech bullpen is in action. Brett Barfield slowly tossing in case he's needed.
I think trying to protect against the lead they have. You have it, I think, architected right now to get through 7. You don't, if you give up 4 and have to go through 9, you start burning arms maybe you don't want to get to.
Breaking ball, upper portion of the zone, and it's 1 and 2. I believe both these hitters have faced 2 strikes and worked walks.
Yes, yep. And that's kind of what I was thinking and seeing, to your point, Daniel. It seems like when he gets to 2 strikes, maybe trying to overthrow a little bit, do more than he has to, get too nasty with that breaking stuff.
Check swing, no swing, and it's 2 and 2. Is McDevitt at second, McCullough at first, Minette at the plate.
And this is where, so now you're at 2-2, you got to be back in the strike zone, right? Just throw that same breaking ball that you've had really good command with early in the count, same hand speed, same release point, and just try and throw it down. Again, the stuff in the break is good enough.
It's almost like you pitched. It's a good call.
Yeah,
off.
It's easier said than done, right? I've been there to where, you know, when you get to 1-2, the want in the mind starts to get to where I got to throw this one even better. When really it's the same break, right? What you need to do is manipulate the spot. And that's a great adjustment right there by Bursima. That was one of his tighter ones. If you're going to stay with it, it doesn't have to be anything different than that.
14 runs on 16 hits. No errors for Georgia Tech. Just 2 hits for West Georgia, but they are potentially on their way to walking the bases loaded here at the plate. With Hank Smith and his spot due up on deck. I believe that we have had a pinch hitter already, and the stats a little bit delayed here for us. So wait and see who is due up next. Looks to be Gabe Young in that 6 spot, 7 spot.
And for a guy who's searching for that first scratch this year, you know, Minet's putting up a battle here, seeing some really tough stuff right on right. It has some good takes.
3-2 pitch here with 1 out and 2 on. There's that frozen breaking ball in the zone. Another strikeout for Minette. First for Bursima. And here comes the let him pitch chance.
And a good adjustment there, just allowing yourself to beat him in the zone. A full count kind of forces you to do that. But it's good if you're a Georgia Tech fan, if you're Matt Taylor, to see, hey, on that full count, there wasn't that big miss to the glove side. There wasn't that big yank. Stayed through his delivery over the plate a little longer. And now that slider has an opportunity to catch the plate longer, and that's what you saw right there.
Gabe Young, 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the 5th. Last chance here for West Georgia to try to avoid a shutout as the breaking ball tails outside from Bursima. West Georgia has not been shut out this season. Georgia Tech has not had a shutout this season. Beautiful pitch there by Young, and it's 1-1. Rinse and repeat, 1 strike away in a game that featured 9 two-out runs in innings 2 and 3. The Jackets have been in command from the get-go. Take 2 and 2. A game that was started by Dimitri Angelakos. 3 in the 3rd shutout innings, just 2 hits allowed. Adam McKelvey finished that inning in the 4th. Charlie Wilcox went 2 strong. Porter Bursima looking to shut the door. 2-2. Got him! The Yellow Jackets tame the Wolves in a 14-0 shutout. Vahn Lackey, what a day.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? A lot of fun to be had if you're Georgia Tech. You see all the boys giving Lackey some love, and a night that he'll probably remember for a long time. Obviously, what he did defensively was really cool and really special, but to put together that offensive side of the ball tonight as well, I think was a nice bonus for him. But in the whole, Georgia Tech doing exactly what they needed. We talked about wanting to get right and play really well going into the big weekend series against Clemson, and coming off the Sunday that they weren't so happy with. So I think mission accomplished for them as they head into a big ACC weekend at Clemson.
First shutout of the season for Georgia Tech. Lackey a single shy of the cycle. He played 8 defensive positions. Burress, fireworks at the plate and in the field as we wrap things up for our entire crew. Art and Tanner in the studio. Dusty and I in the booth, wrapping things up.